"Sir, you need to leave immediately. This establishment has standards." The words slice through the marble lobby of Manhattan's most exclusive hotel, like a blade through silk. Marcus Sterling stands frozen at the entrance, his 6-foot frame impeccably dressed in a $5,000 Armani suit, Italian leather briefcase gleaming under crystal chandeliers. Behind him, wealthy white patrons stream past the brass doors unchallenged, their laughter echoing off gilded walls. Hotel manager Davidson's eyes narrow with practiced disdain, his pale face twisted into a sneer that speaks of years perfecting this particular cruelty. Security guards hover like vultures, hands resting on radios, waiting for the signal. Sterling's platinum watch catches the light as his jaw tightens, but his voice remains steady as granite. "I have a reservation." Davidson's laugh is sharp, cutting. "Not anymore, you don't." Phones emerge from the shadows, guests recording the humiliation with the same casual interest they'd show a street performer. Sterling's hand tightens on his briefcase handle, knuckles pressing against the leather. What they don't know will destroy them all. What would you do if this happened to you? Drop your answer below. Sterling reaches for his phone with a smile that promises devastation. Marcus Sterling steps from his black sedan onto the sidewalk of Fifth Avenue, the driver holding the door with practiced deference. The Grandview Hotel towers before him, a monument to old money and older prejudices, its limestone facade gleaming in the evening light. Sterling checks his platinum Rolex, 7:47 p.m. His reservation for the penthouse suite confirmed, his business meeting tomorrow worth $50 million. Tonight he needs rest. The valet hesitates before taking Sterling's keys, eyes flicking nervously between the luxury vehicle and its owner's face. A micro-pause that speaks volumes. The doorman's welcoming smile falters the moment he processes Sterling's features, his hand freezing on the brass handle. Whispered conversations ripple through the staff like stones thrown in still water. Front desk clerk Rachel nervously shuffles papers, her movements sharp and anxious. From his glass office overlooking the lobby, manager Davidson emerges, tall, pale, entitled. His gray eyes narrow immediately upon seeing Sterling, sizing him up like a threat assessment. "Can I help you?" Davidson's tone drips condescension, each word carefully measured to establish hierarchy. Sterling recognizes the familiar dance of discrimination, the choreography he's witnessed in boardrooms and country clubs for 50 years. He maintains his composure, a skill honed through decades of breaking barriers while others tried to build them higher. Sterling presents his gold-tier loyalty card, driver's license, and confirmation email with movements as precise as a surgeon. Davidson examines the documents like they're contaminated evidence, holding them at arm's length. "Our system shows no reservation." The lie rolls off Davidson's tongue with practiced ease. Sterling's internal alarm bells ring. He pulls out his phone, displays the digital confirmation with tomorrow's date clearly visible. Davidson's jaw tightens, his carefully constructed authority challenged by undeniable proof. "Our system is never wrong," Davidson insists, doubling down on his deception. Other employees watch Davidson's performance, taking cues from their superior. Security guard Johnson steps closer, his bulk casting shadows. Concierge Martinez pretends to organize brochures while stealing glances. The front desk phones ring constantly, other guests checking in with seamless efficiency while Sterling faces interrogation. Sterling notices the pattern with forensic precision. Every other guest processed instantly, welcomed warmly, treated with dignity. Him? He gets suspicion, delay, deliberate humiliation. The textbook playbook of institutional racism, executed with corporate polish. "Call your corporate office." Sterling's voice remains calm but firm. "Marcus Sterling, premier member since 2019. Davidson's eyes flash with irritation at being challenged. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside." He points toward a corner like Sterling is a problem to be managed, not a customer to be served. Other guests openly stare now, some pulling out phones to capture the spectacle. A woman in diamonds whispers to her husband, their entertainment purchased with Sterling's dignity. Sterling's mind races with calculated fury. He's faced this in boardrooms where he closed billion-dollar deals, in restaurants where his money wasn't green enough, in country clubs where his achievements weren't pale enough. But tonight feels different. The blatant arrogance, the public theater, the casual cruelty, it crosses every line. Davidson signals security with a subtle nod. "Mr. Johnson, please escort this gentleman out." Sterling's briefcase contains documents that could obliterate Davidson's career in minutes, but he won't reveal his hand yet. Instead, he studies Davidson's face, memorizes the name tag, catalogs every detail. Information is ammunition. Patience is power. Sterling's fingers hover over his phone. One call could end this nightmare, but he senses a larger lesson waiting to unfold. Sterling stands taller, his voice cutting through the marble acoustics with surgical precision. "I'm not moving until you explain why every other guest receives service while I face interrogation." Davidson's face reddens like spilled wine on white linen. "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone." The words hang in the air like poison gas, their legal veneer barely concealing the rot beneath. Sterling's eyes narrow to laser points. "Based on what criteria?" The lobby grows cemetery quiet. Wealthy patrons pause mid-conversation, their champagne glasses suspended like frozen time. A woman draped in diamonds whispers urgently to her husband, their words lost in the tension. Her teenage daughter points an iPhone with the casual cruelty of her generation, turning human suffering into social media content. Hotel staff freeze like deer caught in headlights. Sterling realizes he's transformed from customer into evening entertainment, his dignity the price of admission to their privilege. Davidson feeds off the audience, his chest puffing with borrowed authority. He steps closer, invading Sterling's personal space with calculated aggression. "Listen carefully." Davidson's voice drops to a threatening whisper, each word precisely chosen for maximum venom. "You don't belong here. This isn't some budget motel on the highway. We serve a certain clientele." Sterling's hands clench into fists, 50 years of professional achievement and Harvard education reduced to the color of his skin. The injustice burns his throat like swallowed fire. Fortune 500 CEO, billion-dollar deals, industry recognition. None of it matters to the man before him. "I see." Sterling's voice goes dangerously quiet, the calm before the hurricane. "And what determines this certain clientele?" Davidson's smile turns predatory, sensing victory. "Discretion, sir. Discretion and standards." The coded language isn't lost on anyone with functioning brain cells. Sterling reaches into his jacket, retrieving a business card of thick, expensive stock. "Marcus Sterling, Chief Executive Officer, Sterling Dynamics." Davidson barely glances at the credentials, dismissing decades of accomplishment with theatrical indifference. "Anyone can print cards these days." Security guard Johnson moves to Sterling's left flank like a chess piece positioning for checkmate. Davidson signals the front desk with imperious authority. "Cancel any reservations under that name, permanently." Sterling's eyes widen, not from fear but from sheer audacity. They're doubling down on discrimination, making it personal, making it public, making it a masterclass in institutional racism broadcast live to witnesses. Davidson crosses his arms, physically blocking Sterling's path to the elevators. "Now, are you going to leave quietly, or do we need to make this unpleasant?" Sterling looks around, trapped between security, surrounded by voyeurs, humiliated by design. His phone buzzes against his chest. A text from his assistant illuminates the screen. "Acquisition papers signed. You now own 60% of Grandview's parent company." Sterling's rage crystallizes into something colder, sharper, infinitely more dangerous. The text message changes everything: the game, the rules, the final score. He's not just a guest anymore. He's the owner. But Davidson remains blissfully ignorant, digging his professional grave with each shovelful of arrogance. Sterling decides to let this performance reach its crescendo before revealing the orchestra's true conductor. Sterling slips his phone back into his pocket and smiles, the kind of smile that makes intelligent people run for cover. Davidson raises his voice to operatic levels, ensuring maximum audience participation. "Ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely apologize for this disruption to your evening." Sterling realizes with crystalline clarity that he's been transformed from customer into spectacle, his dignity the admission price for their entertainment. Phone cameras multiply like predatory eyes, each lens capturing his degradation for viral consumption. Security guards flank him with military precision, their positioning suggesting he's dangerous rather than discriminated against. Davidson's performance reaches theatrical heights, the professional hero protecting refined society from an unwanted intruder. "Sir, I need to examine your identification again." Sterling already presented his credentials twice, but Davidson demands a third inspection under interrogation lighting. This address appears questionable. Sterling's penthouse address represents $8 million in Manhattan real estate. Davidson knows this constitutes harassment, but continues his systematic degradation with practiced sadism. "And this credit card, are you absolutely certain it belongs to you?" Other guests watch with mixture of fascination and discomfort, their moral compasses spinning wildly between entertainment and empathy. Some film openly, others whisper behind manicured hands. An elderly woman in pearls nods approvingly at Davidson's actions, her racism sanctioned by wealth and privilege. A young couple shifts uncomfortably but maintains their silence, choosing complicity over courage. Hotel staff preserve professional facades while enabling systematic abuse through institutional cowardice. Davidson deploys his ultimate weapon with calculated malice. "You know what? I think we need to involve the police." The threat hangs in marble air like a loaded gun. "Let them sort this situation out." Sterling's mind races through devastating possibilities. Police involvement means potential arrest, criminal record threats, career destruction through false allegations. Davidson understands this nuclear option intimately. He's wielded it before against other victims who dared challenge his authority. Sterling faces an impossible choice: fight back and become the aggressive black man stereotype, or submit and accept complete dehumanization. Either response feeds Davidson's predetermined narrative. Sterling chooses a third option: strategic submission with hidden agenda. "I understand your position completely," he says with measured calm. Davidson's smile widens like a satisfied predator, mistaking tactical retreat for unconditional surrender. Davidson escorts Sterling toward the exit, his hand pressed against Sterling's back like he's removing contaminated waste. "In the future, sir, perhaps try establishments more compatible with your circumstances." The condescension reaches breathtaking heights. Sterling memorizes every face, every name tag, every complicit witness. His photographic memory, the same skill that built his business empire, catalogs each participant in this theater of cruelty. At the revolving door, Davidson delivers his final poisonous gift. "Oh, and sir, don't waste time leaving negative reviews online. We retain excellent legal representation for such matters." Sterling stops walking. The casual threat of legal intimidation crosses the ultimate line, transforming discrimination into outright intimidation. Davidson remains blissfully unaware he just threatened the man who now owns his employer, his paycheck, his professional future. Sterling's phone buzzes with volcanic timing. An email from his acquisition team illuminates the screen. "Congratulations, Mr. Sterling. You now control the Grandview Hotel Group. 14 properties, 3,000 employees, $2.8 billion in total assets. Emergency board meeting scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow." Sterling's hand trembles microscopically, not from fear, but from the cosmic irony unfolding. Davidson just fired his new boss while performing for an audience that will witness his professional execution. Sterling turns at the threshold, locking eyes with Davidson like a sniper acquiring target. You've been very educational tonight. Davidson misinterprets the comment as defeated acceptance. Glad we could clarify expectations. Sterling's smile carries enigmatic promise. Oh, we're just beginning our education. Davidson's confident expression flickers for one precious second, something in Sterling's tone suggesting hidden knowledge, concealed power, approaching reckoning. Sterling walks into Manhattan darkness, but doesn't retreat far. He positions himself across the street, watching his hotel like a general surveying tomorrow's battlefield. Sterling stands in shadows across from the hotel, watching Davidson through illuminated glass doors like a predator studying prey. The humiliation burns in his chest, transforming from raw wound into surgical steel. 50 years of facing racism, but tonight shattered every boundary of human decency. The public degradation, casual cruelty, systematic dehumanization, it ends now. Phone in hand, Sterling makes a silent vow that will reshape lives, careers, and an entire industry. Not revenge, revolution. Davidson and his enablers will learn the true cost of institutional racism through comprehensive education via devastation. Sterling's mind operates with CEO precision. Systematic, thorough, absolutely decisive. He speed dials his head of legal. Sarah, it's Marcus. Emergency session tonight. Discrimination case, hostile environment, wrongful treatment. But more than litigation, I need strategy for complete organizational transformation. Second call, David Chen, HR Director. We have a situation requiring immediate surgical intervention. Within 90 minutes, Sterling's team assembles in his penthouse office like a war council. Sarah Martinez, employment law specialist. David Chen, human resources expert. Michelle Rodriguez, corporate communications strategist. Tom Wilson, security director. They've witnessed Sterling angry before, but never like this. Cold, calculated, methodical as winter. Here's what happened, Sterling begins, recounting every toxic detail with courtroom precision. His team takes rapid notes, recognizing the severity through his controlled fury. Sarah speaks first. This represents textbook discrimination with multiple witnesses and probable video evidence. But Marcus, you now own the company. You possess direct power to act decisively. Sterling paces before floor-to-ceiling windows, city lights glittering like distant stars. This transcends firing Davidson. We're sending a message to every hotel, every business, every institution that thinks discrimination is acceptable. We're creating an example that resonates throughout the entire industry. David outlines comprehensive HR strategy. Full investigation, witness interviews, security footage review, training record examination, pattern analysis of discrimination complaints. If this is systemic, we reconstruct everything from foundation to penthouse. Michelle adds strategic communication elements. Media management. Tell our story authentically, control narrative flow, transform this incident into catalyst for positive industry change. Sterling's voice softens momentarily, revealing his humanity beneath executive armor. That young clerk, Rachel, appeared uncomfortable with Davidson's performance. Some staff members may be victims themselves, pressured into compliance with his toxic culture. We separate willing enablers from reluctant participants. Justice, not vengeance. Tom Wilson discusses operational security. Hotel staff will experience shock tomorrow. We need professional security presence, smooth transition protocols, minimal disruption to paying guests. This must appear as professional business decision, not personal vendetta. Sterling nods approvingly. Optics matter in public transformation. Davidson begins work at 8 a.m., Sterling continues with military precision. Board meeting at 9 a.m., new management installed by 10 a.m. National media receives our story by noon. Industry discussions commence by evening. We have 8 hours to orchestrate complete institutional metamorphosis. Sterling's team disperses with specific assignments. Sarah prepares legal documentation. David arranges replacement personnel. Michelle drafts press materials. Tom coordinates security logistics. Sterling stands alone in his office, gazing at the hotel across the street where Davidson remains oblivious to approaching professional extinction. Sterling calls his 82-year-old father, retired professor who survived segregation with dignity intact. "Dad, remember what you taught me about maintaining dignity under pressure? Tomorrow I implement those lessons on an industrial scale." His father's voice carries unmistakable pride. "Show them what we're truly made of, son." Sterling's phone rings with perfect timing. The hotel's parent company CEO requesting emergency consultation, completely unaware he's calling his new boss. Silent vow plus secret call, 549, 550 words. Escalation. 1. 7:30 a.m. arrives with surgical precision. Sterling emerges from an armored sedan flanked by 2 black SUVs carrying his legal and executive team. Davidson spots the convoy through lobby windows, immediately assuming important guests require his most obsequious performance. Davidson straightens his tie, prepares his practiced smile of false hospitality, and rushes toward the entrance like a servant greeting royalty. Sterling steps onto marble floors wearing a $5,000 suit, flanked by attorneys and executives who move with corporate authority. Davidson hurries forward with extended hand, his voice dripping manufactured charm. "Good morning, sir. Welcome to the Grandview Hotel." Sterling stops mid-stride, studying Davidson's eager face with microscopic intensity. "You don't remember me?" Davidson's smile falters like a flickering bulb. Something familiar resonates in the voice, but his arrogant brain cannot process the impossible connection. Recognition dawns across Davidson's features like sunrise over a graveyard. His face drains of color, leaving him pale as hotel marble. You're... Davidson's voice cracks like breaking glass. Sterling's tone freezes the air between them. "The man you humiliated 12 hours ago. The man you expelled from your establishment. The man you threatened with police intervention." Davidson stumbles backward as if struck by invisible force. Other staff members notice the commotion, gathering like witnesses to an execution. Sarah Martinez steps forward with legal precision. "Mr. Davidson, I'm Sarah Martinez, legal counsel for Mr. Sterling. We require immediate discussion with you." Davidson's hands shake like autumn leaves. I don't understand what's happening here." Sterling's smile carries predatory promise. "You're about to receive comprehensive education." Front desk clerk Rachel recognizes Sterling, gasping audibly as understanding floods her consciousness. Security guard Johnson's hand moves instinctively toward his radio. Concierge Martinez backs away from the unfolding drama. The staff realizes something seismic is occurring, their comfortable world shifting beneath their feet. Davidson looks desperately around for support, finding only frightened faces and nervous energy. His authority evaporates like morning mist. "Mr. Davidson," Sterling's voice cuts through lobby acoustics like a blade through silk. "Gather your management team. Conference room. Immediately." Davidson's voice breaks completely. "Sir, I need to contact my supervisor." Sterling's laugh carries sharp edges. "Your supervisor answers to me now." Tom Wilson approaches the security desk with professional authority. "I require last night's surveillance footage. All cameras, every angle." Security Chief Cooper hesitates, glancing toward Davidson for guidance. Davidson nods weakly, understanding he possesses no choice in this rapidly evolving situation. The footage will document everything. Michelle Rodriguez positions herself strategically in the lobby, identifying optimal media staging areas. Guests begin noticing unusual activity, some recognizing Sterling from business magazines. Whispers begin spreading like wildfire. "Isn't that the CEO who..." The story gains momentum before official announcement. Davidson attempts one final desperate power play. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave these premises. This remains private property." Sterling's team exchanges knowing glances, watching Davidson dig his professional grave deeper with each syllable. Sarah Martinez delivers the killing blow with legal precision. "Mr. Davidson, you're addressing the owner." Davidson's legs nearly buckle as reality crashes over him like a tsunami. Sterling pulls out a thick folder containing Davidson's complete employment file, preparing to read his professional obituary aloud before witnesses. The conference room fills with nervous hotel management, their faces reflecting dawning comprehension of approaching catastrophe. Davidson sits at the table's head, desperately clinging to rapidly dissolving authority. Sterling enters with his team, claiming Davidson's seat with the casual confidence of absolute ownership. "Mr. Davidson, you are relieved of your position. Effective immediately." Davidson's face transforms to parchment white. "You can't do this! I have contractual rights, legal protections." Sarah Martinez opens her briefcase with surgical precision, removing meticulously prepared documents. "Mr. Davidson, your employment contract contains explicit termination clauses for discriminatory conduct. Last night's incident constitutes breach of contract, violation of company policy, and potential criminal behavior." Davidson's hands shake like earthquake victims. "This is about financial compensation, isn't it? You want monetary settlement?" Sterling's voice remains controlled, each word measured for maximum impact. "This transcends money, Mr. Davidson. This concerns accountability. You humiliated me, threatened me, treated me like a criminal. More importantly, you revealed a systematic pattern of behavior that damages this company's reputation and violates fundamental human dignity." David Chen reviews personnel files with clinical detachment. "Mr. Davidson, we possess reports spanning 3 years. Complaints regarding discriminatory treatment, hostile work environment, preferential service based on race and class. You've cultivated a toxic culture of institutional racism." Davidson realizes his career lies in ruins, scattered like debris from a professional explosion. Tom Wilson brings his laptop, displaying security footage on the conference room screen. The entire incident unfolds in high definition. Davidson's condescending tone, dismissive gestures, orchestrated humiliation. The video evidence proves damning beyond appeal. Davidson watches himself destroying his career in real time, each frame documenting his systematic cruelty. Sterling addresses remaining management with executive authority. "Anyone who enabled this behavior, participated in discrimination, or remained silent during systematic abuse, you're complicit. We're conducting comprehensive investigation. Those who cooperate receive consideration for retention. Those who obstruct face immediate termination." Davidson's professional facade crumbles like a house built on sand. "Please, Mr. Sterling. I have family obligations, mortgage payments, college tuition expenses. I made an error in judgment. I apologize sincerely." Sterling's expression remains unmoved by the desperate plea. "You're sorry about consequences, not actions. You're sorry you were caught, not sorry about what you did." Sterling stands, towering over Davidson's diminished form. "You have 2 options. Resign immediately with basic severance package or face termination for cause with 0 benefits. You have 5 minutes to decide." Davidson's shoulders sag under the weight of inevitable defeat. His empire of petty power has collapsed in less than 24 hours. Sterling addresses hotel staff through the intercom system, his voice carrying throughout the building. "This is Marcus Sterling, your new owner. Effective immediately, we're implementing comprehensive policies addressing discrimination, harassment, and customer service excellence. Today marks a transformational era for the Grandview Hotel." Davidson reaches for his phone to call someone, but Sterling's security team blocks all exits with professional efficiency. Davidson's pen hovers over the resignation letter like a vulture circling carrion. His hand trembles as he signs away 15 years of career advancement with a single stroke. Sterling watches without emotion, offering no mercy to the architect of his own destruction. "Mr. Davidson, you have 30 minutes to collect personal belongings and vacate these premises. Security will provide escort." Davidson looks up one final time, searching Sterling's face for compassion, finding only the cold justice of consequences, meeting actions. David Chen begins systematic staff interrogations in adjacent rooms. Rachel, the front desk clerk, breaks down crying during her interview. I wanted to help last night, but Mr. Davidson would have terminated me immediately. I'm a single mother. I couldn't risk losing my income. Sterling recognizes the human cost of Davidson's toxic leadership, understanding the difference between victims and perpetrators. Security guard Johnson displays defiant resistance during questioning. I followed orders. That's what managers exist for. Sarah Martinez reviews his personnel file. Multiple complaints, aggressive behavior patterns, discriminatory enforcement practices. Mr. Johnson, you're terminated for cause. Your conduct violated company policy and state anti-discrimination laws. Sterling's team works methodically through staff evaluations, discovering 3 distinct categories: active discriminators, passive enablers, and silenced victims. Justice requires surgical precision, not blanket punishment. Davidson emerges from the elevator carrying a cardboard box, flanked by security personnel like a prisoner in transit. The hotel lobby falls silent as guests and staff witness their former manager's walk of shame. Davidson's face burns red with humiliation, the identical feeling he inflicted on Sterling 18 hours earlier. The cosmic justice proves mathematically perfect. At the revolving door, Davidson turns back with desperate rage. You'll regret this decision. I'll file lawsuits. I'll destroy your reputation in this industry. Sterling's voice carries across the marble expanse with absolute authority. Mr. Davidson, you already destroyed your own reputation. I'm simply making it official. Television crews gather outside like vultures sensing fresh carrion. News vans line the street as Michelle Rodriguez orchestrates the perfect media narrative. Sterling's story of discrimination and accountability already trends across social media platforms. The hotel's transformation becomes national news within hours. Sterling introduces interim manager Jessica Washington, an experienced black hospitality executive with impeccable credentials. Ms. Washington will implement new training programs, diversity initiatives, and accountability measures. The Grandview Hotel will establish industry standards for inclusive excellence. Hotel guests witness the transformation in real time. Some express discomfort with rapid change, others applaud the decisive accountability. Sterling addresses concerned guests personally, ensuring their comfort while maintaining his principles without compromise. Sterling's phone rings constantly. Other hotel chains, business leaders, civil rights organizations. His decisive action sends shockwaves throughout the hospitality industry like seismic tremors before a major earthquake. Change approaches whether they're prepared or not. Davidson storms out plotting immediate revenge, and his weapon of choice involves manipulating media coverage. Escalation 3, 401, 400 words. Power reveal. Sterling stands at the podium in the hotel's grand ballroom, facing a packed assembly of journalists whose camera flashes illuminate his face like lightning strikes. The moment has arrived to reveal the full scope of his power and transform personal injustice into industry revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Marcus Sterling, Chief Executive Officer of Sterling Dynamics and as of yesterday evening, majority owner of the Grandview Hotel Group. The announcement hits the room like a thunderclap. Reporters lean forward, sensing the magnitude of this revelation. Sterling's presentation demonstrates executive mastery. 2 weeks ago, my company completed acquisition of 60% controlling interest in Grandview's parent corporation. The $2.8 billion purchase was finalized at precisely 7:43 p.m. yesterday, 4 minutes before I was denied entry to this very hotel. Audible gasps ripple through the audience like waves. The timing proves devastatingly ironic. Mr. Davidson, the now former manager, spent his evening humiliating his new boss while I legally owned the company that issued his paychecks. The irony would be amusing if the discrimination weren't so profoundly serious. Sterling reveals his credentials with methodical precision. Harvard MBA, 25 years building a technology empire, Fortune 500 company leadership, $400 million personal net worth. I've faced discrimination throughout my career, but last night crossed every conceivable line. When you possess power, you bear responsibility to wield it for justice. Sterling presents research his team compiled overnight. Our investigation revealed systematic discrimination at this hotel spanning 3 years. 17 formal complaints, dozens of informal reports, 0 meaningful accountability. This wasn't an isolated incident. It represented entrenched corporate culture. Sarah Martinez joins Sterling at the podium. We're filing federal discrimination lawsuits, not seeking damages, but demanding systematic change. We're reporting violations to state civil rights commissions. This hotel will become a case study in institutional accountability. The large screen displays security footage from the previous evening. The audience watches Davidson's discriminatory behavior unfold in real time. Sterling's calm professionalism contrasts sharply with Davidson's arrogant aggression. The visual evidence proves absolutely devastating. David Chen presents findings from staff interviews. 12 employees reported pressure to discriminate against minority guests. 8 reported termination threats for showing basic courtesy to Black and Hispanic customers. This was systematic oppression, not individual prejudice. A reporter asks about Davidson's defamation claims. Sterling's response cuts like surgical steel. Mr. Davidson recorded his own behavior. Security cameras captured his words. Witnesses documented his actions. Truth provides absolute defense against defamation allegations. Sterling outlines comprehensive reform, mandatory diversity training, bias reporting systems, diverse hiring practices, community partnerships, scholarship programs. We're not just changing this hotel, we're transforming the entire industry. Sterling's voice becomes deeply personal. My father couldn't stay in hotels like this during the 1960s. He taught me to use education and success to demolish barriers. Last night I realized success without action proves meaningless. Sterling reveals broader implications. I'm contacting every hotel chain, every hospitality company, every business that considers discrimination acceptable. Change begins here, but won't end here. A reporter inquires about financial impact. Sterling's answer stuns the room. Firing discriminatory staff, implementing new systems, legal costs, media attention, it will cost millions. But the cost of inaction proves higher. Reputation, integrity, and human dignity remain priceless. Sterling addresses Davidson directly through cameras. Mr. Davidson, you declared I didn't belong here. You were wrong. I don't just belong here, I own here. Your discrimination destroyed your career, damaged your reputation, and ended your future in hospitality. That's not revenge. That's consequences. Sterling's closing statement resonates with moral authority. Every person deserves dignity. Every customer deserves respect. Every employee deserves discrimination-free work environments. When those in power fail to protect these principles, those with power must intervene. Reporters fire questions about Sterling's future plans. Will he pursue politics? Will he acquire other hotels? Will he expand his campaign? Sterling's answer proves measured. I'm a businessman, not a politician, but I'm also a human being who believes in justice. This concerns accountability, not ambition. Sterling's revelation changes everything. He's not merely a victim seeking justice. He's a powerful executive implementing systematic change. The discrimination wasn't just morally wrong, it was strategically stupid. Davidson attacked someone with resources to fight back comprehensively. Have you ever witnessed discrimination like this? Tell us where you're watching from. Sterling's phone buzzes with an incoming call from the White House. This story has reached the highest levels of government. Within 48 hours, the FBI Civil Rights Division opens a federal investigation that sends shockwaves through corporate America. Agent Patricia Hayes leads a specialized team examining discrimination patterns across the entire hotel chain network. Sterling's meticulous documentation becomes federal evidence in a case that will reshape hospitality industry standards forever. Mr. Sterling, your case has uncovered systematic violations spanning multiple states and jurisdictions. This has escalated to a federal civil rights matter, Agent Hayes explains during their meeting. The New York State Civil Rights Commission launches a parallel investigation with equal intensity. Commissioner Robert Martinez reviews Sterling's evidence with forensic precision. This represents textbook institutional discrimination. We're examining corporate policies, training procedures, complaint handling systems. The Grandview may lose state hospitality licenses permanently. Congressional attention arrives swiftly and decisively. The House Judiciary Committee requests Sterling's testimony before a packed hearing room. Representative Alexandria Johnson, chairwoman of the Civil Rights Subcommittee, calls for federal hearings. Mr. Sterling's experience represents a systemic problem requiring immediate legislative response. We need federal standards for hospitality industry discrimination prevention. The hotel industry scrambles desperately to respond to the mounting pressure. Major chains implement emergency bias training programs within days. Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt issue public statements condemning discrimination while quietly revising internal policies. The industry association creates new standards seemingly overnight. Sterling's decisive actions force industry-wide transformation in 72 hours. Davidson hires an aggressive attorney, claiming wrongful termination in a desperate counterattack. He files lawsuits alleging Sterling orchestrated the incident for publicity purposes. Davidson's lawyer, Michael Thompson, argues with misguided confidence. My client was terminated for performing his job duties. This represents reverse discrimination disguised as social justice. Sterling's legal team unleashes a devastating discovery process that dismantles Davidson's defense systematically. Subpoenas reveal Davidson's email communications, phone records, and personnel files. Evidence shows a clear pattern of discriminatory language, racist jokes, and deliberate targeting of minority guests. Davidson's countersuit collapses under the weight of his own documented bigotry. Sarah Martinez presents Davidson's emails to assembled media. Messages to staff about maintaining standards and protecting our clientele contain obviously coded racist language. One email to security reads, "Watch the urban types closely. They require additional supervision." Another message to front desk staff, "If they appear unable to afford our services, they probably cannot." Former employees emerge from shadows with devastating testimonies. Maria Santos, former housekeeper, reveals, "Mr. Davidson instructed us to report any suspicious behavior from black guests. He claimed they were statistically more likely to steal." A security guard discloses, "Davidson maintained an unofficial policy, search black guests' belongings more thoroughly than others." Sterling's investigation reveals that Grandview Hotel Group's corporate structure actively enabled discrimination. The board of directors never addressed systematic complaints. Corporate headquarters ignored patterns of violations. The failure extended from executive suites to front desk operations. Hotel insurance companies investigate potential coverage denial. Deliberate discrimination voids standard liability policies. Sterling's ownership position complicates insurance claims significantly. Legal costs could exceed $50 million. Background investigations reveal Davidson's discrimination history extends far beyond Grandview. Previous hotels report similar complaint patterns. Character references withdraw support rapidly. Professional associations distance themselves from the scandal. Davidson's career suffers permanent destruction. Sterling's reform costs mount substantially. $12 million for complete staff retraining, $8 million for facility improvements, $15 million for legal settlements, $20 million for expanded diversity programs. Sterling personally funds these initiatives without hesitation. Money talks, but justice speaks louder, he declares. National media covers the story extensively. CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News feature Sterling's transformation prominently. 60 Minutes requests an exclusive interview. Sterling controls the narrative expertly, maintaining focus on systematic change rather than personal revenge. Social media amplifies the impact exponentially. Had Grandview justice trends worldwide. TikTok users create content supporting Sterling's message. LinkedIn professionals share workplace discrimination stories. Instagram influencers promote Sterling's accountability message. Social media extends impact far beyond traditional news coverage. Senator Patricia Williams introduces the Hotel Accountability Act, requiring federal oversight of hospitality industry discrimination. The bill mandates reporting systems, federal penalties, and victim compensation funds. Sterling's case becomes the catalyst for federal legislation with bipartisan support. Major corporations threaten economic boycotts of discriminatory hotels. Nike, Apple, and Google revise corporate travel policies immediately. Corporate America uses economic pressure to force industry change. Sterling's actions trigger a comprehensive corporate social responsibility movement. Local NAACP chapters organize support rallies. Community leaders praise Sterling's moral leadership. Local businesses offer partnership opportunities. Sterling's actions inspire grassroots activism that spreads beyond hospitality into other industries. Davidson's life implodes with mathematical precision. His wife files for divorce, citing public humiliation. Children face harassment at school requiring transfers. The mortgage company threatens foreclosure proceedings. Professional reputation lies in ruins. Personal relationships sever completely. Sterling's transformation of Grandview becomes required case study material. Harvard Business School develops comprehensive course materials. Law schools teach discrimination law using Sterling's methodical approach. His actions create lasting educational impact across multiple academic disciplines. European hotels examine their own practices nervously. British hospitality industry implements new standards preemptively. International hotel chains revise global policies comprehensively. Sterling's influence extends worldwide, reaching every continent. Competitor hotels attempt to capitalize on Grandview's temporary troubles. However, Sterling's comprehensive approach forces industry-wide accountability that leaves no hotel immune from discrimination scrutiny. Class action lawsuits represent dozens of discrimination victims across multiple properties. Sterling's company settles for $75 million, directing funds towards civil rights organizations and victim compensation. The settlement becomes the largest hospitality discrimination award in legal history. Davidson faces bankruptcy proceedings, house auction, professional license revocation, and industry blacklisting. The man who wielded power through discrimination loses everything through his own documented actions. Sterling's reputation soars to unprecedented heights. Multiple organizations name him Business Leader of the Year. Harvard invites him as a distinguished guest lecturer. His company's stock price rises 23%. Success through justice proves remarkably profitable. Sterling prepares for Davidson's final desperate gambit, threatening to expose his real motives through coordinated media manipulation. Davidson sits across from Sterling's legal team in a stark conference room, his cheap polyester suit contrasting sharply with the $10,000 legal representation facing him. The court reporter's fingers dance across keys, capturing every word of his professional destruction. Sarah Martinez leads the questioning with surgical precision. Mr. Davidson, do you recall your exact words to Mr. Sterling on the evening of March 15th? Davidson's voice cracks like thin ice under pressure. I was protecting the hotel's legitimate business interests. We encounter various individuals attempting unauthorized access. I was exercising appropriate caution. Sarah Martinez presents the official transcript with devastating accuracy. You stated, "You don't belong here. This isn't some budget motel. We serve a certain clientele." How does that statement protect business interests? Davidson's composure crumbles under relentless legal pressure. Sweat beads form across his forehead like morning dew. His hands shake as he reaches for a water glass with trembling fingers. I may have used poor judgment in my word selection. Sterling watches silently, taking meticulous notes while Davidson's career disintegrates with each inadequate answer. The large screen displays security footage frame by frame, revealing Davidson's discriminatory gestures, condescending expressions, and deliberate humiliation tactics. Audio captures his coded racist language with crystalline clarity. The footage speaks definitively, Mr. Davidson. This wasn't poor judgment. This was systematic discrimination executed with malicious intent. Former colleagues testify to Davidson's established pattern of discriminatory behavior. Assistant Manager Jennifer Parks provides damning testimony. He regularly made racist comments about minority guests. He referred to black customers as problems and Hispanic guests as security risks. The behavior was constant and pervasive. Davidson's defense strategy crumbles like a house built on quicksand. Sarah Martinez reveals Davidson's employment history background checks with methodical thoroughness. 3 previous hotels report similar discrimination complaints and problematic conduct patterns. The Ritz-Carlton terminated him for persistent attitude problems. 4 Seasons cited irreconcilable customer service issues. The discriminatory pattern spans decades of professional misconduct. Davidson's personal life implodes with brutal efficiency. Wife Sarah Davidson files divorce papers citing irreconcilable differences and public humiliation beyond repair. Children transfer schools due to persistent harassment from classmates. The mortgage company initiates foreclosure proceedings on their family home. His social circle abandons him completely. Davidson's legal bills exceed $200,000 while credit cards reach maximum limits. Bank accounts face freezing orders. Retirement savings drain entirely. The man who wielded power through discrimination confronts complete financial collapse. His pride destroyed his prosperity with mathematical precision. Under oath, Davidson finally breaks completely. Yes, I treated Mr. Sterling differently because he was black. Yes, I made assumptions about his financial capacity. Yes, I humiliated him deliberately for my own satisfaction. The admission is recorded, transcribed, and becomes permanent legal evidence in federal court proceedings. Sterling demonstrates measured restraint rather than seeking complete destruction. Mr. Davidson, you possessed power and abused it systematically. You held authority and corrupted it deliberately. You had opportunities to treat people with dignity and chose discrimination instead. Your downfall represents your own creation. Hotel industry associations revoke Davidson's professional memberships permanently. Licensing boards suspend his credentials indefinitely. Employment references withdraw support unanimously. Background checks reveal his discrimination history to potential employers. Davidson becomes unemployable throughout the hospitality industry. The local community shuns Davidson systematically. His country club revokes membership privileges. The neighborhood association removes him from board positions. His church asks him to step down from committee leadership. Social death accompanies professional destruction with cruel efficiency. Davidson makes a desperate final plea. Mr. Sterling, I'm begging for mercy. I have nothing remaining. My family has abandoned me. My career has ended. My reputation lies in ruins. Please demonstrate compassion. Sterling's response proves measured but firm. Mr. Davidson, you showed no mercy to me or countless other victims. Consequences are not revenge. They represent justice in its purest form. Davidson leaves the deposition broken, defeated, and utterly destroyed. Security personnel escort him from the building while photographers capture his final walk of shame. The man who built his career humiliating others faces ultimate humiliation. His story becomes a cautionary tale for future generations. Sterling emerges completely vindicated. Legal victory proves absolute and comprehensive. Davidson's recorded admission validates Sterling's claims entirely. Justice is served through systematic accountability rather than emotional revenge. Sterling receives another White House call. The president wants to meet personally to discuss national anti-discrimination initiatives. President Williams signs the Sterling Act into law during a Rose Garden ceremony attended by civil rights leaders, business executives, and Sterling himself. The comprehensive anti-discrimination legislation for the hospitality industry mandates federal oversight, mandatory reporting systems, and victim compensation funds. Sterling's case becomes the catalyst for transformational national change. Today, We ensure no American citizen faces discrimination when seeking basic commercial services, the president declares to assembled media. Major hotel chains implement Sterling standards with unprecedented speed and thoroughness. Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt adopt policies Sterling developed through his systematic approach. The industry association creates new certification programs requiring annual compliance audits. Sterling's influence reshapes an entire economic sector within months. Fortune 500 companies revise corporate travel policies immediately, requiring hotels to meet comprehensive anti-discrimination standards before receiving business contracts. Corporate America uses massive economic pressure to force industry-wide change. Multi-billion-dollar purchasing decisions hinge on inclusive excellence demonstrations. Sterling's actions trigger a comprehensive corporate social responsibility movement affecting multiple industries. Sterling partners with prestigious universities to develop hospitality, discrimination prevention training programs. Harvard Business School creates an entire course curriculum using his case as the central study. Training programs implement nationwide, reaching hundreds of thousands of employees. Sterling's experience becomes essential educational material for preventing future discrimination. Sterling's case establishes crucial new legal precedents in federal courts. Civil rights attorneys reference his documentation methods in subsequent cases. Legal scholars study his strategic approach extensively. The case becomes a blueprint for systematic discrimination litigation across various industries. Sterling's technology company develops revolutionary bias detection software specifically for the hospitality industry. Artificial intelligence monitors customer interactions continuously, identifies discriminatory patterns automatically, and alerts management immediately. Technology prevents discrimination before it occurs rather than punishing it afterward. Innovation serves justice through predictive intervention. The European Union adopts Sterling standards for all member nations following extensive parliamentary debate. British hospitality industry implements comprehensive new policies preemptively. International hotel chains revise global operational practices to meet American standards. Sterling's influence extends worldwide, reaching every inhabited continent. American civil rights leadership influences global human rights advancement. Sterling establishes a substantial scholarship fund for minority hospitality management students. He partners strategically with NAACP, Urban League, and Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Comprehensive mentorship programs connect experienced executives with emerging talent. Sterling transforms personal experience into sustained community advancement. Sterling's story inspires documentary films, academic books, and scholarly studies. Hollywood develops movie rights for his transformation narrative. His story becomes a cultural touchstone for accountability and systematic change. Media amplifies messages of justice far beyond initial incident coverage. Economic analysis reveals that discrimination costs the hospitality industry billions annually in lost revenue, legal settlements, and reputation damage. Sterling's reforms prove remarkably profitable. Diverse workforces improve service quality, while inclusive policies expand customer demographics significantly. Justice becomes demonstrably good business practice. Economic incentives align perfectly with moral imperatives. Young professionals cite Sterling as primary inspiration for entering business leadership. Business schools teach his case study methodology comprehensively. Future executives learn accountability principles through his systematic approach. Sterling's legacy influences the next generation of corporate leaders. Sterling establishes the National Hospitality Accountability Project, providing independent oversight, ensuring continued industry compliance. The organization creates permanent reporting mechanisms for discrimination victims. Ongoing vigilance prevents systematic backsliding into previous discriminatory practices. Sterling's actions contribute significantly to broader cultural conversations about racism, institutional power, and corporate accountability. His measured response becomes the preferred model for confronting systematic discrimination professionally. Cultural change follows comprehensive legal reform. Sterling's personal life transforms dramatically. He becomes a prominent civil rights advocate while maintaining successful business leadership. He demonstrates practical integration of profit motives with principled stands. Success and social justice prove mutually reinforcing rather than contradictory. Sterling's case inspires similar accountability actions across multiple industries. Banking, retail, and healthcare sectors examine their own discriminatory practices nervously. Systematic change spreads beyond hospitality into numerous economic sectors. One individual's experience transforms multiple industries comprehensively. Sterling's influence creates a ripple effect extending far beyond the original incident's scope. 1 year later, Sterling walks through the transformed Grandview Hotel lobby with quiet satisfaction. Diverse staff members greet guests warmly, their professionalism unmarked by prejudice or fear. The marble floors maintain their lustrous shine, but more importantly, the culture radiates genuine respect and human dignity. Sterling's investment in justice has paid dividends in measurable humanity. Jessica Washington, the new general manager, reports quarterly results with evident pride. Guest satisfaction increased 34%, employee retention improved 67%, discrimination complaints eliminated entirely. Sterling nods approvingly. Numbers tell important stories, but dignity reveals essential truth. Professional success follows moral leadership with mathematical precision. Former employees share transformation testimonies that validate Sterling's approach. Maria Santos, promoted to head housekeeper, speaks with renewed confidence. Mr. Sterling gave us permission to treat everyone with genuine respect. We no longer choose between employment security and personal values. Dignity empowers everyone it touches. The local NAACP chapter holds annual Sterling Award ceremonies, recognizing businesses demonstrating inclusive excellence. Community leaders use his example to inspire neighborhood-wide transformation. Change spreads through principled leadership and consistent example. Davidson works minimum wage security at a suburban shopping mall, divorced, bankrupt, and professionally blacklisted. However, he enrolled in community college diversity training programs that Sterling funded anonymously. Even justice includes opportunities for genuine redemption. Department of Justice statistics reveal 78% reduction in hospitality discrimination complaints nationwide. Hotel industry implements Sterling standards comprehensively. Training programs reach 2.3 million employees across all major chains. Sterling's decisive actions create measurable, lasting change. Sterling sits in his penthouse office gazing down at Grandview Hotel while his father's photograph watches from the mahogany desk. The man who taught him dignity under impossible pressure would be proud. Dad, we didn't just break barriers. We built bridges for others to cross. Legacy honors ancestry through purposeful action. Sterling addresses Harvard Business School graduates with wisdom earned through experience. Power without accountability represents tyranny. Success without justice proves meaningless. When you possess resources, you inherit responsibility. Use your influence to expand dignity for everyone you encounter. Leadership manifests through service to others. Sterling's daughter, currently a Harvard law student, interns with major civil rights organizations. She tells him with obvious pride, "Dad, you demonstrated that privilege creates obligation. Success demands service to something greater than personal gain." Values transfer successfully through generations when lived authentically. Sterling testifies before Congress on comprehensive discrimination reform with moral authority earned through action. This transcends revenge or retribution. This concerns accountability and systematic change. When established systems fail, individuals must demonstrate courage. When power corrupts, justice must respond decisively. Moral leadership influences public policy effectively. Sterling Dynamics becomes an industry model for corporate social responsibility. The Employee Handbook includes a comprehensive dignity charter, a binding commitment to treating all people with unconditional respect. Business culture successfully reflects personal values when leadership demonstrates consistency. Sterling receives an unexpected call from Davidson himself. "Mr. Sterling, I need to thank you personally. Losing everything forced me to confront who I had become. The training program you funded opened my eyes completely. I'm not seeking forgiveness. I'm acknowledging truth." Growth emerges through consequences when coupled with opportunities for education. Sterling's response proves measured and thoughtful. "Mr. Davidson, accountability isn't about destroying people. It's about changing destructive behavior. You lost your career but discovered your conscience. That represents genuine progress." Justice includes redemption when accompanied by authentic transformation. Sterling's case study appears in business ethics textbooks worldwide. His methodical approach, strategic patience, comprehensive documentation, measured response, becomes the standard template for confronting institutional discrimination. Education spreads influence across generations. Grandview Hotel achieves the highest customer satisfaction ratings in company history. Revenue increases 45% annually. The property receives awards for inclusive excellence consistently. Profitability follows principled behavior naturally. Competitor recognition validates comprehensive transformation. Sterling's personal anger transformed into purposeful action. The humiliation became motivation for systematic change. The discrimination became determination to prevent future victims. Personal pain created public progress when channeled through strategic thinking. Healing occurs through helping others overcome similar challenges. Sterling addresses the camera directly with quiet authority. Discrimination thrives in silence and complicity. Accountability requires decisive action. When you witness injustice, you face a fundamental choice: complicity or courage. Choose courage consistently. When you possess power, you face responsibility: service or selfishness. Choose service always. The moral lesson resonates beyond individual circumstances. Sterling's transformation of Grandview Hotel represents more than business success. It demonstrates how individual courage can inspire systematic change across entire industries. One person's principled stand can influence institutional transformation. Personal integrity can reshape public policy when combined with strategic action and unwavering determination. Justice delayed is not justice denied when persistence meets preparation. Sterling looks directly into the camera with unwavering resolve, speaking to millions of viewers across the globe. My story began with humiliation, but concluded with transformation. Not through revenge, but through systematic accountability. Not through anger, but through strategic action. The question isn't whether discrimination exists, it's whether you'll take decisive action to combat it. His voice carries the weight of experience and the promise of hope. Have you witnessed discrimination in hotels, restaurants, or other businesses? Have you experienced treatment similar to mine? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's build a community through truth-telling and mutual support. Your voice matters significantly. Your experience counts tremendously. Together, we create unstoppable change. Sterling's passion ignites viewer engagement across multiple platforms. If you believe in dignity for all people, subscribe to this channel immediately. If you support accountability for systematic discrimination, share this video with your networks. If you want to see more stories of justice in action, activate notification alerts. Change requires community participation. The call to action resonates with viewers seeking empowerment. Visit our website for comprehensive resources, documentation techniques for discrimination incidents, legal rights information, official reporting procedures. Knowledge represents power. Information becomes ammunition. Education facilitates transformation. We provide essential tools for achieving justice. Sterling offers practical empowerment to his audience. When you travel, choose hotels with demonstrated inclusive policies. Support businesses that actively demonstrate dignity and respect. Use your economic power to promote systematic change. Every dollar represents a vote for the world you want to see. Economic activism becomes accessible to everyone. Join our Facebook community, Dignity in Business. Connect with others who've faced similar discrimination. Share valuable resources, offer mutual support, celebrate hard-won victories. Community multiplies individual power exponentially. Digital platforms extend the movement's reach. This transcends hotels completely. Discrimination exists in banking, retail, healthcare, and education. The principles remain universal. Document everything meticulously. Maintain professional demeanor. Seek accountability relentlessly. Demand systematic change. Apply these lessons everywhere you encounter injustice. The methodology transfers across all situations. Some of you feel powerless against systematic discrimination. You're absolutely not. You possess voice, choices, and influence. Utilize social media platforms, consumer purchasing power, and legal rights. Even without millions, you can make millions of differences in people's lives. Personal empowerment becomes accessible to everyone. Should there be stronger consequences for workplace racism? Let me know your thoughts. Next week, I'll share another powerful story of justice in action. A black woman denied service at a luxury restaurant until she revealed her identity as the health inspector. The owner's reaction will absolutely shock you. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss this incredible story. Anticipation builds for continued content. Send us discrimination stories from around the world. Discrimination represents a global problem requiring coordinated global solutions. Your international experiences help others understand the universal nature of this challenge. Global perspective expands the movement's impact. Young people, this is your world to transform. Don't accept discrimination as normal behavior. Don't remain silent when witnessing injustice. Use your energy, idealism, and technological skills to create the inclusive world you rightfully deserve. The next generation receives empowerment and encouragement. Business leaders, examine your own organizational practices honestly. Are you part of the problem or part of the solution? Leadership requires rigorous self-examination. Success demands unwavering accountability. Professional responsibility becomes a call to action. Before you scroll to the next video, ask yourself these critical questions. What would I do in Sterling's situation? How would I handle systematic discrimination? What power do I possess to create meaningful change? The answers will surprise you. Self-reflection becomes the bridge to action. Sterling's final words carry the weight of truth and the promise of hope. Remember this always. Dignity is not negotiable. Respect is not optional. Justice is not impossible. When good people take decisive action, transformational change follows inevitably. The moral imperative resonates across all boundaries. Power plus principles equals progress.